Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Beyond the Naked Eye. I am joined today by TrickyBJJ owner and Purelator's favorite, Kyle. How are you, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So the first thing I want to ask you right off the bat is, where did the nickname Tricky come from?
It's honestly just a gamer tag from like Call of Duty, Xbox 360. I was in like a shoot 'em up club thing, and we all got names, and because I always did tricky stuff, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? And then with jiu-jitsu, it was always like when I was rolling, I would do tricky moves to people and be like, oh, that's tricky. I'm like, yeah, that's the inside joke. So then I just kind of carried it on, right? And then this is just, the end result of it.
Fair enough.
That's where the name came from. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Honestly, every time I hear that name, I think of the Run DMC song. You know what song I'm thinking about?
Yeah, so many people send me that like GIF or like that music tone all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny. Yeah. It just makes me laugh, man. It's good to have a nickname. It's good. You know what I mean? It's good.
Yeah, that's me. I love that. I honestly thought that you got that nickname. Do you ever play that snowboarding game, SSX Trickyy?
Yeah. I played that too.
Yeah. That's what I thought you picked it up from there. But that's really cool. So the reason I have you on this podcast today is I want to talk about you and your jiu-jitsu academy, TrickyBJJ. But to start, I want to take things back to the beginning. What got you into jiu-jitsu in the first place? Because I know you were quite the rumbler back in high school. Was that something you were trying? Were you trying to seek out something legitimate, or?
No. So like, I just got tired of being fat. To be honest, I was really overweight, and sometimes when you grow up, you think you're tough, and you get in high school fights, and 15 seconds is 15 seconds, right? And then you get older, and you go to the bar, and you think you know what you're doing, and next thing you know, someone's on top of you, and you don't know what you're doing, and you think that you got this, and you don't got this. So I signed up for kickboxing classes locally, and I did that, and I did a couple fights. And then I was watching the guys after class, like choking each other out in wrestling. And I was like, I got to try that. So I went over and I tried it, and I got choked out like pretty much right away, just like what happened in a real fight. Yeah. And I just kept going. I stopped doing kickboxing so much, and I started focusing on no-gi jiu-jitsu or grappling or whatever you want to call it, ground karate, sure. And I did that, and I just kept doing that. And that's basically how I got started into jiu-jitsu. Is like, I was watching guys do stuff, and I was like, I got to try this, and I got beat up. So I was like, I'm going to keep learning. And then I knew that I had to go somewhere that was better than where I was. So I drove like 3 hours to Toronto and threw on some PJs or a gi. And I got choked out there by a girl, my first roll. And, I knew I was in the right place because I wasn't, the best person in the room, blah, 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 that usual spiel. And I was hooked. And the gi was just another part of the day, right? Just do it all the time. I've already done it today, to be honest. I did it this morning. So,
nice.
Yeah, of course.
So was the first person you ever rolled with a female?
No. So the first person I rolled with at Open Mat in Toronto was a female. And she beat the snot out of me. So I knew I was in the right place. She was a coach of mine there for a few years, and she's awesome. And she would beat me up all the time, and it always kept me in check. You know what I mean?
Fair. I mean, I only asked that question because whenever I've rolled with females in the past, I always just kind of been like, oh, this is kind of weird, because like you're like, especially if they smell nice. I know that sounds really weird, but it's like, especially
it should never be weird.
Yeah, I think you're just new to it, and I'm also a fairly young guy, so it's just like a weird kind of, especially if you're new to it. I think if you're
your comfort zone, your comfort zone is definitely pushed. Yeah, absolutely.
How old were you when you first?
As soon as you, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like as soon as you put on the gi or you step on the mats, you're totally in jiu-jitsu mode. So like whoever you roll with, it should be fine, man. It shouldn't be a big deal. Like, of course it's uncomfortable. Like you make wrong move or you grab somewhere you're not supposed to grab, but like, to be honest, they're doing the same thing, so like it's an equal ground, and they're there to beat you up. So it's fair. Just don't use a lot of strength unless she's, bigger than you, and then use a little bit of strength if you have to, I guess. I don't know.
That's fair.
I never really I welcome getting beat up. It's a good thing, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from being young. And when I started kickboxing, it was just after my son was born. So like 10 years ago, so like 25, 26. And then I didn't really get into jiu-jitsu until I was like 28, 20, I don't know, whenever I started, like 2011. Started doing seriously at 2013. Yeah, it's been a long time. I've almost been doing jiu-jitsu for like 9.5 years then.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I know you started up TrickyBJJ in 2016. Can you tell me about what made you want to start that up and what that was even like?
Oh, okay. So I was training in Toronto and I got laid off a peer layer down to like a lesser shift. So I was not being able to go twice a week like I was religiously. So I seeked out a local Kung Fu place in town. I knew a guy that trained there and I was training with him at his house. And he was like, why don't you teach the grappling program there? And I was just a blue belt and I was like, I don't know if I should do that. Like, maybe I should talk to my professor. So I talked to my professor and he was like, you know what, if you think you can do it, he's like, you know, I believe in you. And that was a big thing for me. It was like Professor Elliott in Toronto always really, you know, believed in me and was like, man, if you need any help, just ask me. And like, that was like, you know, blessing for me. And like, that's how I got started. So I was teaching at Blue Crane in 2015. And I was just a blue belt. And I was training for a while, teaching, and had quite a few students. And most of them were in their Kung Fu class too. So there was a few guys that just came from my jiu-jitsu program. And, you know, Bob was getting closer to retiring. And I have a lot of love and respect for Bob. So when he was talking about retiring, I started thinking about opening my own gym. So like I said, I talked to Elliot and Elliot said it was cool. So I talked to the guys and they were willing to go with me. So that really helped, you know, because, you know, you got to pay rent, you got to buy mats. And to be honest, mats are really, really expensive.
Really?
They're like $150 to $200 a mat.
Oh, wow.
So,
oh, shit.
Yeah. And, yeah. So like, you know, $3,000 later, I got mats.
Damn.
So like,
holy shit.
Luckily for myself, my dad helped me pay for the mats, and I got a little bit of inheritance because unfortunately I lost my mom at the same time as when I went to start opening this place. So that really helped. And yeah, that's how I got here now. Yeah, so started in Kung Fu place. I just trained, taught some guys, worked up some clientele, and then we talked about it, and boom, here I am.
So you were a blue belt when you first opened up TrickyBJJ?
I was a purple belt when I opened TrickyBJJ. So what happened was I was at Blue Crane as a 3-4 stripe blue belt, and then I got promoted, and then I opened.
Oh, okay. Is there like a minimum you have to have before you can open up your own business? Is that a thing?
No. Anyone can open a gym. There's a guy in town that's like basically a white belt, and he runs a gym as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
Yeah, so like,
a little shade there.
I'm cool, bro. I'm just telling the truth, man. No, but seriously, no, that's not like that. But I mean, you don't need. No, anyone can open a gym, man. Like anybody who does kickboxing.
Oh.
Like if you're serious about it, like you should probably take your time when you're opening things. Like I felt like I kind of fell backwards into the position, and then I just kind of took it. And then I had a lot of people that supported me and like brought me up and like, you know, tried to help me. And like my guys on the mats, man, like 2 of the guys with me been for a really long time, and like they're there for me. Like no one else is there, but they're there. You know what I mean? So like, if it wasn't for the people that I had, I definitely wouldn't be where I am. But no, there's no bare minimum whatsoever. When I was a purple belt, I just felt more confident as a purple belt. They say when you're a blue belt, you're a certified badass. But when you're a purple belt, you're kind of like an expert badass. And like, to be honest, the expert badass sounds better than certified. So it was a confidence boost, right? And then, you know, like belts and stripes and stuff after purple, like it doesn't really matter between a purple belt and a black belt. Like it's just experience, right? Like there could be a lot of experience or like a little bit of experience, right? Like there's not much difference. Like IBJF rules is like almost every belt is like a minimum of 2 years. And like I'm a brown belt right now, and I've been a brown belt for like, pretty sure over 2 years. And I just got 2 stripes. Like at this point, like I don't even care. Like my professor, if I need to promote someone, I ask him, he says that I get my blessing and then I promote my students. Like it's COVID. So like, yeah, I could probably go there, but like, I shouldn't go there because if I get my guys sick, that's not good for our community, especially because like I'm trying to build a strong community, positive look on my business. So like everyone knows who I am. So I'm always like trying to be super nice and like careful about what I do and what I say. So yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, I think that's, I was actually just going to mention this. Actually, you just said you're a brown belt. When you get to that advanced of a stage in like in jiu-jitsu, is that something you even care about anymore? Like I think like for me personally, when I started jiu-jitsu, I'm like, you see someone like amazing, you want to emulate that. Like, oh my God, I want to be a black belt. But surely once you like have the experience you have, is that something you even care about anymore?
To be honest, no. Because like I said, my professor gives me blessings to promote my students because he respects my decisions. And yeah, you care, but you don't care. Like it's like once you hit brown, like there's no difference between a brown and black belt. It's a minimum 1 year. There is no, like honestly, like I get beat up by blue belts. I get beat up by purple belts. I've been beat up by white belts. They're just, you know, tough dudes. You know what I mean? Like people are resilient. And jiu-jitsu, like I care, but I don't care. Like I've been doing it long enough where it's like, you know what? I would like my reward to be like going to school and paying for it and then not getting your diploma, but you've graduated. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would like to get my black belt. When I get it, maybe I'll be more mature, probably the inside joke there. But to be honest, I don't care. If they told me I couldn't compete in a black belt division, I would care. But as far as I'm concerned, if I want to compete as a brown belt, as a black belt, then I can. And then if I don't, you know, there's always that old, you know, Sharpie spilled all over my belt trick.
So, yeah, you actually just mentioned this, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it. So you said you've been beaten up by blue belts and white belts, and obviously someone of your experience, that must be humbling in some sort of way. How do you feel when like you're rolling with like a white belt or a blue belt and like they get the best of you? Does that actually get to your head, or do you even care?
No, of course not. Like, you know, like rolling with someone with less experience, you always let them have windows of opportunity. And when they get that window of opportunity, there is no shame whatsoever on my insides if I let them get it and then like, wow, they really got it, or wow, I didn't see that coming. Bam, there it is. Crap, there's a tap. I would never go home and worry about it. I actually had this discussion with Jacob this morning. We were training and we were talking about tapping, and like, no, man, I don't go home and count. To be honest, like if you get tapped, like it's a learning thing. It's like, damn, that guy got me there that fast. Like that's a hole in my game. Maybe I should fix that. Maybe I should slow that down. Maybe if I was smart, I should film the next training session. You know what I mean? So I can see it. But like, you know, if somebody gets you, they get you. Like the game it's a game. Like it's like playing chess with human. Like boom, I make a move, I get you. Wow, you know, maybe the next 27 rolls, you're gonna beat the snot out of me, and you know, I still got to keep going. You know, students tap me all the time. Who cares? My professor, you know, he's amazing. And, you know, I've heard him say the word tap, and like, you know, he's smiling at the end because, you know, our job's done. You know, if you know, if Jacob or Dustin or one of my guys tap me, then man, like I did good, man. As far as I'm concerned, like that's, you know, that's good for me and that's good for them. Like, you know, but yeah, sometimes you just, you know, you get caught and you just move on. And, you know, if you're worried about it, just go home and, you know, Google it or hit the mats and train that situation and get it fixed so it doesn't happen again. But maybe when I was a blue belt, I get pissed off, but like as a brown belt, like you tap me, like, awesome, thanks. You showed me something that I need to fix, or like, wow, you're really impressing me with like how far you've come. That's how I look at that stuff.
Well, I love that. I think that's a great way of looking at it. I feel like, I don't know, I might be misinterpreting, but I feel like a lot of people in that, I mean, especially like starters have a little bit of an ego, and I think you have to be kind of humbled. But I'm glad to hear that you have that perspective of just like, if they're tapping me, I am doing well as a teacher.
Yeah, of course. It takes a few years to get rid of that attitude. I'm sure there's guys who walk in on the mats and they don't care at all. But yes, absolutely. Emotionally, it probably does upset people. And like, I know, you know, like I was a blue belt, I'd get mad. I would go home and get mad. I would sit in my car mad, and I wouldn't talk to anybody. And, you know, that's you know, you get over those things. Yeah. Throw the armrests. No, but like, I mean, that's, yeah, exactly. Drive a little fast on 400, you know. That stuff happens, but like.
Take your anger out of the pedal.
Run over an animal on purpose, you know. No. But that stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
And you get over it, right? Like, to be honest, you get over it. And like, you know, if you have a chip on your shoulder, jiu-jitsu is really good for you. It might not be good. Like, it's good for you, but like, it could be like eye-opening good for you, or like, wow, I need to calm down good for you. Or it's like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this at all, and I need, you know, mental help good for you kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, you know, aggression on the mats is crazy. Like, I've seen white belts like just lose on each other over the dumbest things that shouldn't even be upsetting, but you know, you know.
I heard that like rolling with or even sparring, any martial art, like sparring with a novice is more dangerous than sparring with a professional. How accurate do you think that is?
100%. Yeah. I when I roll with white belts, I usually pull guard. I don't try to go for takedowns. If they get takedowns, I will let them just take me down, because if you don't, you ever seen two rhinos go at each other, you know, boom, right? Those are white belts. Even if they're like 90 pounds, those are white belts, okay? Like, I describe jiu-jitsu at a tournament. If you watch belt levels, like, white belts are like this, okay? Blue belts, kind of slower, purple, brown. Black belts are barely moving. They move fast, but they're barely moving, right? Like, when they do something, they're moving, but they're not going very fast. White belts are crazy. They're unpredictable. The thing with jiu-jitsu is you have to remind people that you don't need to worry about the other person unless it's a white belt. After white belt, you don't really need to worry so much about the other person. You just need to not hesitate and be confident in what you're doing and always be moving forward, whether you're playing guard or on top. But with a white belt, always red tape all over the room. Put a bubble shield on, and you know, flat pump, and like be very encouraging. You know, like let them get stuff, you know, like show them, like if they get something, be like, you know, that was awesome, but like I could do this, or you could do this, or like if they miss something, take that moment and stop on the mats and fix it. You know, just help them, because like jiu-jitsu is very discouraging. But yes, caution tape every time with the white belt, 100%. I have an interview right now, and he is a very solid man. He's a great man. He's a really nice guy off the mats, but when he wants to roll with me and he wants to go, he does not stop. Jesus. So, yeah, that 6 minutes is 6 minutes of my man trying to kill me. And like, that's what I want. But I mean, like, when he turns into a blue belt or a couple stripes on his white belt, he won't be so bad. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be a more enjoyable learning experience for both of us, pushing ourselves to the limit than it is right now, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, one thing I find really interesting is, like, I feel like whenever you meet people who do jiu-jitsu or like any martial art, the more experience they get, the much more chill of a person they are, like personality-wise. So I think it's safe to say that like a lot of the aggression they have, they just put it out on the mats or on the gym.
Or you're just too tired.
Yeah, that's fair.
Depending on how much you train, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I teach 5 days a week, and I try to train. You know, I take Jacob's class every Friday, and you know, when I can, I go places that I'm not supposed to go, and I go and train. And you know, you're right. It's a calming sport. You know, after 2-hour training session, you don't want to go home and argue with anybody. You love it. You want to go home, shower, eat, relax, right? Because like you're mentally, I think this is the right word, endorphins are gone. You know what I mean? Like you are, you know, at that like Zen moment. I find anyways, it's like any sport, I think. Like I'm not really into other sports, but I find that like, you know, guys I talk to play hockey, after hockey, they're more relaxed. It just depends on what it is. And I think that jiu-jitsu is very calming to the body. And you're so sore and so tired after, you don't want to do nothing. You just want to like chill, right? And I feel like jiu-jitsu is a chilling sport. And like I said, it's for everyone, but I feel that like people that stick with jiu-jitsu are more chill. And they probably do CBD. No, I'm just kidding. We could
talk about that off camera. So one thing I was actually curious to ask you was, how was it starting up that business in a small town? Because like Owen Sound isn't exactly like Toronto. Was there a big demand?
No, there honestly, dude, there's hockey, there's soccer, there's baseball, there's curling. There's literally every sport you could think of besides, I think, football in town for adults and children. And, you know, there's already a really, really good karate school, Fudushen Classic Karate at Timothy Christian on 4th Ave. They've been around for a really long time. They have huge class. Before COVID, they'd have like 40 people. Like karate is one of those things that people flock to. Jiu-jitsu is not. Because like jiu-jitsu, if you think about it, like it's grimy, right? Like you get sweat in your mouth, you get sweat in your eyes, you bleed on each other, you bust stuff, you know what I mean? Like it's more of like a contact sport. And I find with Owen Sound, it's an older town, so a lot of people believe in the old stuff. So like karate's big here. There's a local legend guy that I used to train under. He has his own gym here too, and he's an older fellow, and he knows a lot about a lot of different martial arts. And you know, a lot of people just go to him because that's the guy, right? Like that's you know, even when I came to town, like I heard that's the guy to go to. So what did I do? I went to that guy and went and trained, right? Like it's hard to bring people in. It's not. I find it's easier to bring kids into jiu-jitsu, to be honest, because parents watch UFC and blah, 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 and they hear me talk, and most people know who I am. So their kids are easy. Adults are hard. Adults are hard to get in. There is a couple other jiu-jitsu gyms in town, and, you know, like, BJJ is a passion sport. If you want to compete and you want to train hard and, you're not signing your life away to something, or you're not, I don't even know how to say this without coming off as a dick, so I'm just not gonna say it.
Say it.
No, I won't. If you come to my gym, you're coming for passion, right? You're coming for sport. You're coming for a hard workout. You're not coming for a coddle. You're not coming for a zen cuddle session. You're coming to do jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Gracie, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I take this shit seriously. And I'm certified ref Canadian. I have my St. John's ambulance first aid, I take this stuff seriously. Like, this is what I do. And when you come to train, you're coming to train, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, people make friends here and stuff like that, but like, it's more jiu-jitsu than anything else here. And that's how I sell it. You know what I mean? Like, you're coming to train. I don't want any other crap.
Yeah, I respect that. You know what I
mean? And with kids, it's easier. The parents are like, how do you run your program? And I basically explain it how I explain it to you. If the kids are around, that would be, a little bit more appropriate. But I mean, with parents, I just tell them how it is, and this is what they're doing. And they always sign the kids up and bring them back. Yeah. So like, the main attention is always on kids. Adults is hard because everyone has a certain life, and I have a full-time job, so I can only teach a couple classes a certain time. And like, I have Coach Jacob, which is a great blessing for me. He teaches now for me too. Now he's purple.
Oh wow! Shout out to him.
Yeah, right. Like, seriously, March 8th was 6 years with me training. And,
wow!
I can't thank him enough. Like, today, I rolled with him today. Me and him went. Oh wait, I didn't roll today. No, but anyways, I don't care about the COVID crap. We rolled for 27 minutes to exactly what? we rolled for 27 minutes before water break. Like,
wow,
that guy, we go hard, and that's the kind of training I want. Like, I want hard training, and I want my people to train hard. And it's not always a sport where you're like, yeah, I did awesome, but I don't know if I'm gonna come back. That kind of thing. So like, it's hard. With parents, it's a lot easier to get kids. Plus, I'm an ECE background. So when I run my program, it's easy to say large motor skills, small motor skills, like all that stuff to, to relate to parents, you know what I mean? Like, I put it raw to the parents, but I also put it with education behind it. So it's easier with parents. With adults, they come and go, man. Like, people, it's lives, right? Like, people get married, people have kids, people change jobs, people go with their buddies because their buddies want to go to another school. Like, that's life, man. Like, there's no quarrel in it. Like, it's hard sometimes not to take it personally, but it is what it is, man. Like, I build them up, and then they leave, and they build them up, and they leave, they build them up. It's, they say black belt is 1 in 10,000. So, out of, probably 50, 60 students I've seen in here in the 4.5 years, almost 5 years I've been open, like, man, like, there's only a few of us here. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
a sport where there's only a couple, you know, that make it through, right? Like most people quit at blue. So, you know, it is what it is.
So actually, just to circle back, you quickly glossed over this. I was curious, how is juggling like that business and working for Pure later? Can it be overwhelming?
Oh, it's awesome. It's so awesome. Dude,
Yeah.
like I work, it's union, and I've been there 10 years in October, this October coming. And my boss is amazing. We've been friends before he was the boss. And he created a shift for me downtown, which lets me go home for lunch every day and let my dog out.
Beautiful.
Pee on my floor, thank God. And, you know, he lets me advertise my business. Like I don't advertise, like hand out flyers and bullshit, but I mean, like I talk about it, right? Like, and like people don't care. Like people know me as Trickyy the BJJ. You know what I mean? Like the jiu-jitsu guy, like TrickyBJJ. Oh, here comes a Pure later guy. He's on time again. He's probably got to go to jiu-jitsu class after. Like, you know what I mean? Like people know who I am, and like it's easy when you work, you know, 9 to 4:45 every day. So then you teach class. You know, I could teach class at 6 or 6:30, but you know, I want to go home, take a shower, eat food, you know, have a life. Yeah, and then, you know, chill out and then go teach class because like it's passion. It's never been about money.
That's good. That's good.
If you make it about money, you might as well just shut up and stop having a shop because you can't, man. Like most of the big gyms in the cities are closing permanently, and that's scary because that leaves not much left. And that will definitely water down the system in 5 years. That'll leave people that are frauds and scumbags that are pretending to do stuff come up to the top. And I don't think that's fair. And I'm actually kind of sad that the fact that there's been so many closures. You can actually see it online. Someone made a post of all the Ontario big gyms that have closed. And to be honest, like some of those gyms have been around for like 10, 15 years. And like, that's sad, bro. Like that's not good. Like that's not good.
That is sad.
That'll force, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it'll make it stronger for the people that still want to train and they can, you know, get together finally and stuff like that. But if you look into it, man, like after this conversation, you should look to see how many schools. There's at least 7 or 8 big schools in the major cities that closing.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
I can't even believe it. I was like, wow, like that just, you know, lucky for me. Like
well, maybe, right? Yeah, well, maybe there will be like an inflation, like maybe people who went to a certain gym and can't train anymore will maybe go elsewhere, and then maybe your gym, like a gym, like.
Yeah, I'm always welcome. Yeah, of course, like that would be amazing. But like to be honest, like if I don't ever get big, I don't care. Honestly, and like it's just like if I get a couple kids that want to train with me until I can't teach anymore, and they're adults, and those adults turn into people, and older people, and they teach for me or whatever, that'd be great. But like to be honest, like it's not about $1 million business. It's just about, you know what I mean? Like if I have 5 people on the mats or 10 people or 2 people, I prefer to have 2, to be honest, not to say because I don't want to make money. It's because those 2 people will be so qualitied. Like they'd be mint, like literally have all my attention the entire time I'm there. Like when I'm on the mats, I'm on the mats. Like I literally roll with them. I warm up with them. I pull somebody out of a drill and put myself in just to show it properly. You know what I mean? Like 10 people is awesome, but 2 to 4 is even better, to be honest, because those 4 people are going to be pretty badass by the time if they take it seriously, right? Like you could have 10 people in a room and they show up once a month, or you could have 4 people come every day.
Yeah, that's true. I mean? That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's how I look at that stuff.
Yeah. One thing I was actually want to ask you is we're talking about money. I've never understood this, but I'm hoping you can just set things straight. One thing that's always kind of, what's the word? Kind of just like blew me away was like how much money you have to pay for jiu-jitsu academies. Like the one I went to here, it was like $200 a month. Like if you compare it to like a regular gym membership, it's like 40 or 50. So like, could you explain like what that money goes towards?
So how I look at it is like my dues are $120 a month. If you come to 5 classes every week for the whole month, you're paying less than $10 a class. For someone to be there to teach you how to better yourself, control yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, get better, hopefully. If you think that that's not worth $10, then you probably shouldn't do any martial arts at all. It's like if you come once a month, then you're not getting your money's worth. If you come to every class, you're getting your money's worth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm teaching you something that'll better yourself. And if you continue to do it, you will become someone else. Like when I was a kid or growing up, like I was a spaz, I was a dick. I'm still kind of a dick, but I'm a nicer dick. I'm more of a relaxed dick. How else do I put it, right?
Never thought those words would come out of your mouth.
How else do I put it?
I am a relaxed
How else do I put it, right? Like, I'm a nice guy, but like, I don't take shit. Straight up, I don't take shit. And without jiu-jitsu, I would probably be a little bit more crazier than I am. You know what I mean? Like, to do jiu-jitsu and want to fight and want to go at somebody all the time, like you're going to have a little bit above normal aggression levels than someone else, I think. Yeah, like I honestly don't know. I just, yeah, I don't know.
So that must be a question you get a lot of the time. Like, you're trying to like maybe bring like a kid into jiu-jitsu and the parents are like, oh my God, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but hockey's expensive.
True,
like,
that is true.
Hockey's like $400 or $500, man.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's kids that'll sign up and they won't even go. Their parents can't make them go at all.
I cannot relate.
You know that though, right? Like, you know that.
Yeah.
People pay out their pockets for sports for the kids, and the kids won't do it. And with jiu-jitsu, like, man, like with kids, like it's fun. I make class fun. Like I said, I have an ECE background, and like I'm fun. When it comes to having kids, I try to be someone that they can look up to, so I don't swear. And I try to really professionalize myself when I'm with the kids, but I also like to have fun. And you know, I always base my educational aspect for kids class on the Montessori program, which is like whatever their interest is. So like, I make sure they learn the fundamentals and the basics, but I always make sure that I'm listening or watching or asking them in general what they want to learn. And even some of them, they don't even know. But like if you say armbar or Kimura, or do you want to learn an ankle lock or triangle, and they give them the choice, it always gives them. And like, to be honest, my kids like being here. As far as I'm concerned, the parents tell me they want to come back. The program used to be twice a week. Now it's just once a week, just because if the kids get sick, at least gives me 4 or 5 days not to be sick. You know what I mean? There's some serious protocols here and policies, but yeah, like, it works out to a couple bucks a class if you come to every class. So it's
that makes sense.
You know, like I get like some places, like some people tell me I should charge more. And like, to be honest, like I can barely get the $120 out of the people I train with now sometimes, because like their jobs, right? Like with COVID and stuff, like I'm a very understanding man. So like, if they talk to me, I listen, right? Like I'll wait till the end of the month for their money if I have to, but like, I don't want to run my business like that. But that's just, you know, that's the economy right now, is like, people don't got money, man. And like, they just, you know, they prioritize their money, and jiu-jitsu is not a priority. And the people that make it a priority are the ones that, you know, are here all the time, right? Because like, they come once a week, you know, that's an expensive $120. You come 5 times a week, you don't even think about the money, because you know you're training so much that you're learning so much that you're getting better, and you can see it and you can feel it getting better. You just don't care. And like the guys I train with now, they've never, you know, I've raised the dues, I think maybe twice over the last 5 years that I've been teaching, but that's just, you know, prices go up. That's not me trying to make an extra couple bucks. I don't care. I'm making good enough money at Pure Layer. They take care of me, trust me.
Shout out to Pure Layer.
So like, you know, like I don't need to worry about that stuff. So like, I just try to tell them, like, you know, if you come every class, it's less than $10 a class. And, you know, there's always extra training here. Like, I always like to train. So, you know, I try not to push the value. Like, the value of it is emotionally, physically, mentally, you will get better in certain aspects of your life and in like overall. But like, try to be like, yo, it's $120 a month to somebody. They look at you and you're just like, yeah, I don't even like to say it. To be honest, I'd rather have somebody that goes and sells jiu-jitsu to people who come into my gym than me trying to talk to them about it. Because like, to be honest,
oh, you might be gone. Oh, you froze. Fuck. All right, everyone. As you might have seen, we had some technical difficulties, but we are back. So I just want to pick up right where we left off. So I think it's so interesting, like you breaking it down like that, because I never thought about it like that. How if you really break it down, the cost class per class, because you always see that. Like I always see my balance, like, holy fuck, I just spent $200 or $120 or whatever. And I think that's great, man. I think that's a great way of looking at it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when it works out to about like $10 a class, like if you come every class, it's like less than $10. So like, how can you not justify physical, mental, and emotional increase for like $7-8 a day? You know what I mean? And like a day, like some places, like you can train 3 to 4 classes, and like with those dues, like you could, take a wrestling class, a jiu-jitsu class, kickboxing, yoga, just hang out all day for $9 a day.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think that's so fair. Well, okay. So one thing I was actually wanted to pick your brain about, and because I find it so fascinating, is we kind of like we've grown up in an interesting time in the world of martial arts, where like promotions like the UFC and Bellator are like blowing up right now. And admittedly, I don't know if I want to publicly say this, but UFC is what got me into the world of martial arts. I saw McGregor versus DS2, and I fell in love. And there's probably a lot of people listening to this right now who feel the same. They watch one fight, and they're hooked. So my question is, do you ever have students, like new students, who kind of come in and have a complete misinterpretation of what jiu-jitsu is? Like they watch a fight, and they're like, I got this. It's like, whoa, buddy, slow down.
Yeah. A lot of people think that heel hooks are for everyone.
I always see those memes.
Like I love a good heel hook, but heel hook is a belt required move. Some positions you shouldn't be learning or doing before a certain belt or a certain experience level, and UFC is a good way of showing that. A lot of people think that jiu-jitsu, let me just say that in jiu-jitsu there is combative jiu-jitsu where they slap each other and punch and wear gloves, and it's almost like MMA. And then there's sport jiu-jitsu where it's basically competition fighting, and then there's just jiu-jitsu, right? And with UFC, when they say jiu-jitsu, they think of just like dudes rolling around on top of each other, trying to out muscle each other and manhandle and stuff. So yes, people have come in and they're like, so when do we get to punch? And I'm like, there's no punching. Like, did you not listen to the intro that I gave you when you asked me what the class was? No, like if the guys wanted to throw gloves on and roll and slap each other and punch a little, I'm okay with that.
Oh, really?
They're okay with that too. But
you were just like throwing gloves.
We don't train that. Yeah, we don't train that. And like it could escalate very quickly. Everyone's seen that meme of the 2 dudes laying on the corner and their gis covered in blood, and they're like, yeah, we thought we'd do striking today. Yeah, like like it can be it's like I think jiu-jitsu, like when you're rolling with someone, you have to gauge, how they're going to how fast you want to go. Like if you want to go 110, you tell them 110, you go 110. If you want to go 40, you tell them you want to go 40. Or if you're rolling with someone that's new, like I do, like I said, with the white belts, caution tape everywhere, but I'll just pull guard and try to just relax and play. And I find that UFC has kind of made it look like it's just a big old brawl fest. So I immediately tell people, like, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Do you know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is? Have you looked it up? Please Google Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Look up me. Look up my YouTube channel. And then make your decision on if you want to train or not. Because, yes, people came in and tried to heel hook me right off the hop. And, you're like, wow, where'd you learn that? And it's because the school they went to is like an MMA school, and heel hooks are a regular thing that they train. And, I'm a brown belt and I could do heel hooks finally now. But I had this happen to me before, and I was just a purple belt. No, I think I was still a blue belt, and I had a white belt come in, try class, and he was an MMA guy, and he went for a heel hook, and I didn't even know what was going on yet. Cause to be honest, I never really trained them until, recent years.
Well, honestly, I am so glad that I discovered like MMA and jiu-jitsu and all this stuff later on in life, because I feel like if I discovered this shit as a kid, I would have done some cringy shit. Like one thing about story time with Brian here. So one thing I used to do when I was a kid with my brother, shout out to Pedro, is we used to watch like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and then like we try to reenact the moves. So like he like choke slammed me, and I throw him like a DDT, and I like jump off the couch like it's a top rope. So I feel like if we were kids and we watched like MMA, like he would have like threw me in a Kimura, like broke my arm, and like I just
I can see that.
We would have legitimately killed each other. So thank the Lord.
Yeah, I can see that.
Can you relate to that at all? Like, when you were a kid, like, did you like watch shit and you're just like, oh shit, I gotta do that?
No, so like the thing was like I actually watched UFC when I was younger, and I thought it was cool. And then I kind of just grew out of it, and I got into snowboarding and skateboarding, and I just kind of forgot about that entertainment stuff. Like I'm a firm believer in don't have TV. I don't have TV. I haven't had TV for about a decade. I watch movies and stuff like that, and like YouTube and stuff online. But when it comes to TV, it's garbage as far as I'm concerned. It's entertaining, but it's garbage. And so I focused most of my younger years on actual sports outside. I did like wrestling. Don't get me wrong. Everyone likes Booker T. Everybody likes The Rock and stuff like that. But I just, I mainly just did like outdoor extreme sports instead. Right. And then later on, I was like, oh, I should learn how to fight again. Right. That's basically how it happened. And like, I don't know.
One thing I wanted to ask you was, how would you, because this is one thing I find kind of fascinating, because it's subjective, right? Everyone has a different perception as to what jiu-jitsu is. And I kind of wanted to get your opinion. How much would you compare jiu-jitsu as like an art form compared to like a competition? Like, what do you value more?
Both. Because guard is very artful. If you ever seen Spider Guard or Delahiva or, certain sweeps and stuff like that, it takes finesse, and that's where the art is. Controlling someone's body and slowing them down into tricking them, pun intended, to doing things you want. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I like the name. So getting to do things you want to make moves happen, that's the art. The competition is the push to finish the fight, to engage in battle and to keep rolling and going against somebody that's violently, artistically attacking you. Okay, that's how I would say that. It is an art form. It's not a lot like Puma, wax on, wax off. It's a lot of like contact sport, and it is art. There is art in the guards. When people talk about jiu-jitsu, the older black belts, professors, guys that have way more experience than me, listening to them, like when they call them professors, they're literally professors. It's like listening to somebody that is like more than an expert on what they're talking about, and when they talk about it, it sounds like art. And the more they describe it, there's the art. When you watch jiu-jitsu and you're watching two black belts fight, that's art. Yes, it's slow, and you're like, what are they doing? Are they hugging? What's going on? That's the art of jiu-jitsu. The repetition of doing the moves over and over again, that's the art. The competitive is definitely the fight, the role, the sparring, the actual live part of it. That's the drive. But yeah, the art is definitely in the guard. Like if you Google jiu-jitsu and you look up Spider Guard, you look at that and you're like, wow, that looks awesome. You know what I mean? Like it actually looks cool. Yeah. And that's the art. That like a picture of somebody with Spider Delahiva lasso, that could go on your wall. You know what I mean? Like it just looks amazing if you know what you're looking at, right? That's the other thing. Like you got to know what you're looking at. And with jiu-jitsu, like if you're looking outside and you kind of know what the sport is, like there's the art.
That's fair. So I wonder if you have any students who like just want to be the best at it, or is it just like something they kind of just do and like because obviously you guys like prior to COVID, you guys did like competitions in Toronto, right?
Yes. Yep. Always.
So like when people went to compete, how serious did they take it? And how serious do you take it?
I'm there at 6 a.m. If I have to leave at 4 a.m. to drive somewhere, I'll be there. That's how serious I'll take it.
Wow.
I'm there for every one of my students' fights. If I miss it, I feel terrible, but I've probably been 2 minutes too late. You know what I mean? Getting in. I take it very seriously. If guys want to compete and they want to train more, I make the academy available for them to win. Competition, it's not competition, and competitive jiu-jitsu and hobbyist jiu-jitsu is two different things.
Okay.
Guys that come 2 to 3 times a week and they just like jiu-jitsu, they'll get their blue belt, they'll get a couple stripes, might take them longer, maybe not at all because they're bigger, or they're a good asset to the academy. And then there's competitive guys that literally just want to go and be the best, like you said, and beat the crap out of people and win. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is literally nothing wrong with that. If you want to compete and win and go hard, you do that. But you just got to let your partners know, or the coach of the academy that you're training at, that's what you want. And, it's pretty clear cut, like if your coach is going to be there for you or if he's not. But then again, your teammates will probably be there too, right? And like guys that want to compete, they go hard, they take it seriously. Guys that have, they have to cut weight, they have to stop eating sugar or chips, or they got to, up their water intake, take vitamins, start protein, stretching more, getting up earlier. Like when you go to compete, like it's a 5-minute fight, but that's like the 5-minute fight of your life. Like that's where you're going to prove all your training and who you are and what your game is, right? Like you don't just go to competition and slap bump and your head's going all over the place. No, like if you're taking it seriously and you want to win and get gold, what you're doing as soon as you slap bump. As soon as that ref says come batch, you know what you're doing, and that's what you're doing. And that's how serious some people take it. And some people are just naturally good at jiu-jitsu. I've rolled with guys that were like blue belts, are trained for like 2 years and they walk all over me, but they were like athletically good, but they were like competitively driven. They wanted to beat the snot out of me. So like they would try to, beat the snot out of me. It just depends on the person, man.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think personally for me, I'd want to compete one day in jiu-jitsu, but I don't think it'd ever be something that I'd want to be like, I'd want to be the best at. So I'm really glad to hear that like there is completely different categories for someone who wants to just compete or someone who wants to hobby, because I feel like I'd want to compete, but it'd mostly just be a hobby for me.
Yeah, of course. Like you could always just compete once a year, once a belt. You could compete once, never again. You could compete every weekend. Like it's all like what you make of jiu-jitsu, like the sport. It's on you, right? Like it's the most team player single sport there is, right? Like you need someone else there to train with you, but when it comes to competition, it's on you. When it comes to a roll, it's on you. Your coach can yell whatever he wants, but it's on you. Most of the time, the guys can't even hear you because everyone else is yelling anyways. So like it's on them, right? And like there's nothing wrong with being the guy that wants to compete or doesn't want to compete. And you should never feel ashamed of just, when they're rolling, you're rolling hard and you're like out of breath and you've had maybe 3 or 4 rolls and maybe 8 shitty that day and you want to sit on the wall and relax. You know what I mean? Watch it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like there is nothing wrong with being competitive, hobbyist, or just, a guy who likes jiu-jitsu, but super lazy. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Do you have to compete to get like
nope,
like a blue belt or no? You don't have to?
No.
Could you walk me through the process of what you need to do to like improve? Is it just like over time and over training?
Yeah. So like I base my stripe decisions on time put in on the mats. Usually it's like a minimum of like 5 to 6 months per stripe, or you know what I mean, like progressively, because like it's a sport where you have to do the same thing over and over and over again. Like Bruce Lee used to say, like, you don't fear a man with 10,000 kicks. You fear a man with one kick that did 10,000 times, right? So like with jiu-jitsu, like you have to keep doing it over and over again, and like your coach can see you get better. You can feel it yourself getting better, and like every couple months, if you are doing jiu-jitsu seriously, you should be rewarded. That's how I look at it. If someone who's like incredibly amazing and super fast and they're competing and they're winning, yes, they will probably be speeded up through the system, you know what I mean, over time, like quicker than someone who comes twice a week versus someone who comes 5 days a week. But like, it just depends on how they're doing. If they're catching the technique well, if they're remembering stuff, and again, it's other stuff like gym etiquette. Like, are they, respectful to the gym? Are they coming in on time? Are they, putting in the extra work? Like I base it on not just how many taps they get. I base it on everything. Okay. So like you come to my gym.
How they grow as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. And like how they absorb it. And like, you know, it takes a lot to ask me questions about jiu-jitsu and like make me think to help them. And like the more in-depth questions you ask me, that makes me more think, makes it me realize that you're learning and growing the way you're supposed to be. And like, to be honest, like it's just a piece of tape. It's just a belt, right? It's just a color of a belt, right? Like we've talked about this prior, like, you know, I've been beat up by blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, black belts. I've been beat up by, you know, 90-pound women, that like literally 90-pound women that just walk all over me. Like, and that's just, you know, that's just what happens. So like jiu-jitsu, it's progression and it's rewarding people at the right time. Sometimes it's later than, you know, when they think they deserve it. But like, I just base it on the time put in on the mats. Right. You know, like I haven't seen a piece of tape in probably 2 years, and like I train 5-6 days a week. So like, you know what I mean? Like it just depends, right? Like it's always up to the professor or the coach or whatever too. And like, you know, some people fall through the cracks and they don't come enough, so they don't see, like their coaches don't see their progression, or like they don't see it and then they just fall off the tracks and don't come back. So like just like, I think the belt system is a little overrated and outdated. But it needs to be that way. Jiu-jitsu is a very tough sport, and you can't just give a 12-year-old kid a black belt because he's a, you know, a junior black belt. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't happen. Like within karate, like I've seen black belts that are 12 years old, and like, I'm sorry, but my white belts with one stripe would, you know, destroy that child. Like clearly, like you know what I mean? Like jiu-jitsu is one of those sports where you can't lie, right? So like, if you're a blue belt, you're a blue belt. If you're a purple belt, people know you're a purple belt. If they don't, they'll definitely question you. You know what I mean? It's something you can't lie. As soon as you're on the mats, you can't lie. And progressively, you can see people lying less. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it, right? Like, you know, they come in, they're mean mugging, they're all, you know what I mean? And then eventually they get happier. Like, I just noticed, like I notice changes in people, and like, you know, it's maturity, and that's, you know, another pun intended, is probably why I haven't got my black belt yet, because I'm kind of immature. But that's just, you know, it is what it is, right? Like, but yeah, with that, it's just like, you know, every couple months, you know, if you're coming, you're training, and you're asking the right questions, and you're good, you know, you're just good to have in the room and stuff, you're going to get rewarded regardless of where you train. You know what I mean? Like, and every school is different. You could be a blue belt at one school and be like a white blue belt at another school, because that school is like way bigger, way more competitive, better coaching staff, more training partners. Like there's all kinds of variants. That's why when it comes to jiu-jitsu, when you train at a gym long enough, you should just, you know, train at that gym. Because like, you know, when you go to another gym, it's a totally different level. Ball game, eh? Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Changing gyms is awesome. It's very encouraged to change gyms and try different places and roll. Like I go and roll somewhere else in Ontario every other week. And they're better than me. I get the crap beat out of me. And like those people have been beating me up for, you know, almost 10 years. And I'm still smiling after the end, because I know that when I get beat up, then I'm learning. And I'm not the best in that room, and that's where I should be. And that's how I look at that stuff.
That's a great way to look at it. I think you really hit the head. You really hit it there. I think the nail on the head when you said that. I think the best people at their craft in general, not even jiu-jitsu, are the ones who ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I think
no wrong question. Yeah,
I think like one great example I think is you might not like this, but UFC fighter Stipe Miocic. I heard that even in camp, he's the champion. Like he's the heavyweight champion. But even in camp, when he's doing drills and stuff, he always asks questions, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, because that's the only way you're gonna learn, man. Like if you just do the move and hope that your coach doesn't correct you, that's not good. You need critiquing for jiu-jitsu. Like I always, you know, once a month I probably ask one of my rolling partners, like, hey, like, how do you think I am? Do you think I'm getting faster? Do you think I'm getting stronger? Do you think I'm using more pressure? Do you think I'm using less pressure? Do you feel like I'm letting you do more? Do you think I'm, you know, pushing the pace? Like those are questions you need to ask your coach and your training partner. And like I said, my professor is huge on questions, and there's no wrong question. Always ask, because you got to learn, you got to grow, you got to evolve. And when it comes to jiu-jitsu, you need to constantly grow to get better. You can't just expect that doing the same thing or the same routine is going to win every time.
Right.
Absolutely ask questions. If there's something you need to learn, find out, Google it. If your coach doesn't know, every coach isn't going to have every answer. There's tons of tools online. You can even ask somebody else's coach, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, just get the question, get the answer.
Oh, hey, speaking of questions, I got another one to roll off you, Tricky. So again, this is genuine curiosity that I've always had. How would you compare jiu-jitsu to other martial arts in terms of getting into it? Like myself, for example, I've always wanted to try Muay Thai, but watching it is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I know injuries can happen from like jiu-jitsu, obviously, right? But you watch like these combative martial arts, it's like, holy fuck, you can really get fucked up from that. But there's that intrigue as well. How would you advise someone who can be a little intimidated to start any martial art?
Okay, so with me, when I tell people is when they approach me to try to sign up for classes, is I just straight up tell them, like, come to class. Like, the hardest part is stepping in that door. Once you're in the door and on the mats and you've met your coaches and your training partners, have, you know, talk to you a little bit, or at least introduce themselves. My guys are really, really welcoming and really nice. And I encourage that all the time. Like, when there's someone new, guys, make sure you're nice to them, because like, those are your training partners. And with jiu-jitsu, it's like, just show up. I always say it, just show up. Usually I ask the people that's new the next day how their class went. I don't like to be annoying. I don't like to be like, are you coming to class? Are you coming to class? But I like to touch base every now and then with them so that I see how they're doing and how their comfort zone is, or anything I can change, or, you know, they want to try something different. Then like that's good information for me, right? Like, I recently read a book on selling jiu-jitsu, and it was talking about sparring partners, and like, sparring partners is like losing a sale and like how to recover it, and like how to talk to somebody after they've taken class is like the biggest thing you can do, I think, is touching base after that class to make sure that they're okay and that they had a good time is an easier way of getting people to come back than it is to be, you know, put it out there like, oh, free trial, come train, it's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And they look at it and it's like, wow, that looks crazy, like you said, for Muay Thai. And then they never come in. They'll send a message, but they'll never come in. So I always encourage, please just show up. Don't watch it online, come show up. And, meet with me, talk to me, and we'll get you set up in class comfortably, right? Like, you should always, sports, like, yeah, like if I watch an MMA class, I'm like, I don't want to get punched in the mouth. Right? Like, like it's intimidating, right? Jiu-jitsu is intimidating. You're throwing people around, you're sweating. There's, you know, these things are intimidating. And like, the biggest thing you can do is just show up. Like, have the courage to show up. If you have the courage to message a business about trying, even if you just want information, you message a bunch of businesses to see how the feel is, there's nothing wrong with that. But at least having the courage to message or to show up is the biggest step. And then after that, just touching base to making sure that they're okay. But I mean, just showing up is like, I there's no other way of saying it. Just coming in and doing it, because like, that's the most intimidating thing, is like, you open the door and there's all these people like basically beating each other up that you don't know. Right. And like, in my gym, it's all dudes. So like, you know what I mean? So like, you walk in, you're like, but fortunately for me, some of my students, usually the new students come in, are people that we already know, or that have taken interest in, or just had enough of me talking about it and want to try it. You know what I mean? So yeah, just showing up is the biggest thing you can do. And just that courage alone, right? Like, that's all it is. Like, it's just that scary thing. It's like starting a new job. You go there for the first day, you're like, oh God, and then it's fine, right? So
well, when you break it down like that, that is really reassuring. It's just, I don't know, you just, like, I think having this conversation is really rewarding, because like, prior to this, it's just, I don't know, it's just, you say just show up, and that sounds so simple at face value, but it's like,
it is, but it's hard to do. It's hard
really
to do. But if you show up, man, like 90% of the time they come back usually, you know what I mean? And for a couple months or a couple years, and then jiu-jitsu is not for everyone. Like I said, it is for everyone, but it is for everyone. And it's not for everyone, because like, after a couple of years, people disappear. But just showing up, man, like that alone usually gets you in. Yeah, fair.
Okay, so now we're in present day. You know, I'm assuming prior to COVID, the business is doing pretty well. And then COVID hits. Could you walk me through what 2020 was like with your business?
Shutdown.
Oh, wow. Damn. Just hard shutdown, eh?
Yeah. So like I have to follow the protocols of public health, just like everybody else. It was depending on now it's colors, but before it was phases. Depending on the phases, I had to close. Right. So like if a gym was closed, if a fitness gym, indoor activity center was closed, I am closed. I am, we don't have professional fighters in the gym. If I was a professional fighter, I would be able to still train apparently. I don't know if that's entirely true, but because of the colors that it's really weird, dude.
That sounds strange.
It's very weird. It's like if you're a pro fighter, you can like train. But like, if you're not a pro fighter, you can't train.
That's kind of fucking stupid.
And like,
I mean, you're on the verge of being a black belt. I don't think there's any more professional you can get.
I honestly don't know.
That sounds kind of silly.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, to be honest. Like, I went to public health and I got told no. So then, I waited, and then I was watching the Ontario Jiu-Jitsu Association, how they were handling it. Per color or phases, like stage 1, stage 2. Now it's colors. Colors is easy. It's green. I can do whatever I want within reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's like having a gym, right? It's the exact same thing as having a gym. But yeah, 2020 was awful. There was a lot of training in the dark. Yeah, exactly. Another one of those. What?
I've only got them.
One of those moments.
The interview just ends.
Yeah. But like it was hard. A lot of students didn't want to train, so we didn't train. I had to wait till I got cleared to train, and I made a presentation to public health, and thank you for letting me be open. Like it sucked, to be honest. It was terrible because we were in mid competition season, and you don't expect to get shut down over a flu. I can understand why, because the contact sport, it gets spread really easily.
It's like, literally, you can't get any more close to someone than jiu-jitsu.
No, you're sweating in people's mouths and eyes.
It's like jiu-jitsu and fucking. It's like you can't really.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Cuddling. Aggressive cuddling. Yeah. Passive aggressive cuddling, depending on the person. So it was awful. But we made it out. And, I managed during the first lockdown to teach kids, which kept the kids' interest. So I had a group of kids that came, and, they're wearing masks and sanitizing. I temperature checked them. There's all kinds of stuff that I got to do, which, again, is inconvenience. But for jiu-jitsu, I would wear a mask and teach if I had to. It's one of those things I want to do. And if somebody wants to come in my doors and learn, I will teach them. So with the COVID thing, hopefully it's over soon. There's really not much
last year.
The only thing I can do is like the only thing that would change, the only thing would change in the gym right now if there wasn't COVID, where there wouldn't be temperature checks, and I wouldn't have garbage bags on the window. That, you know what I mean? Like, cause like I don't want complaints. You know what I mean? So like, even though we're allowed to train, like if people see us throwing each other around, they might, some Karen might get a little upset and call public health, right? And
it all starts with a Karen.
Yeah. And luckily for me, I haven't had a single complaint yet to public health, and God bless. And I don't want any more ever happen. So until COVID's over, you have to be in my gym to train in my gym. And if you want to see what's going on, you got to be a member of my gym to train. You know what I mean? Like,
did you build like an online platform through like that March, April, May era, or no nothing?
No, we did. We didn't train. No, yeah, exactly. Another one. What? No, but we worked around things. And, there was a time where I did take a break. During the first initial lockdown, I did take a break just like everyone else had to. After that, it became kind of a, you got to do thing. But now that we're good to go, hopefully nothing else locks down again. But, dude,
I think there's space to be optimistic now that there's a vaccine.
Yeah, like even if they told me I had to get a vaccine, even though I don't want it, if they were like, if you want to do sports and you need a vaccine, guess what? Kyle's getting a vaccine. You know what I mean? Like,
at this point, it's like, if I can go to the movies, give me a vaccine, goddamn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I went to the movies last week. It was awesome. You should wear a mask. Who cares?
I wish, bro.
Green zone.
Niagara's in red right now, so like there is not much to do.
Yeah, no, but that's terrible. Sorry. But yeah. Go home. No.
Rub it in my face, why don't you?
Yeah. Just move back to your parents' house. No. No, but yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, it'll be good once COVID's over eventually, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the vaccines is starting to like accelerate in terms of how many people are getting shots.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like in 2 months' time, things will be a bit more normal. I think it's going to be a long. I don't know about how you feel about it, but personally for me, I feel like it's going to be a hot second until things are like normal. But I just wanted to be like kind of normal. Like I don't give a shit if I have to wear a mask everywhere. I just want to go to public places in peace. Like fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you know what? To be honest, the mask in the winter outside kept my face
slapped. Oh, amazing.
Dude,
so
like,
nice.
Like it kept my face warm. But like I said, if I have to train with a mask on, I will. But it's still not going to stop me from doing it. That's for sure. But normalize. I think we're about as normal as I'm going to get in the academy. I'm going to take the garbage bags off, and my landlord said I could paint the glass. So I'm going to paint the glass. So I might do like belt colors. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might even hire someone to do something cool, but I'm going to paint it, and then it'll just look like, just a wall.
Could you tint? Could you tint the window?
I thought about tinted, but then I was like, what about the mildew, right? Because like it's gonna get hot in there, right? So like right now I just have garbage bags, and like I could just imagine that I should probably change the garbage bags. Maybe. I'm probably gonna just paint it, right? Just paint it one color, and then that'll be the end of it. And then I never have to worry about nothing. To be honest, no one's gonna bother us. And like the guys that come in, they're not gonna come in sick. You don't go to the gym sick. You're not going to come to,
of course.
Sick. And like if you're willing to risk your whole group, then you shouldn't even be in that group. Like it's like
if you're going to do jiu-jitsu sick, if you were sick and you're going prior to COVID, you're just a dickhead. Like
you're just being a dick. Yeah. Or like if you had ringworm or something and went to class, like that's just not cool. Yeah, exactly. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
Stay at home. Put the cream on.
So let's say like in a few months' time, like things are somewhat back to normal. And let's just say hypothetical, December 2021, no more COVID. What are your short-term goals?
More maths. No, just I want my kids' class back. I want to be able to have kids twice a week. I want more adults. With Coach Jacob, he's a blessing, like I've said 1,000 times. Having him more available to teach. Now that he's a purple belt, he's been training for about 6 years. Like he's my prodigy, man. Like if I leave, he can teach, and I would not double guess Jacob at all.
That's great.
So 2021 December, if everything was good, I would still be teaching, but there'd be more classes available. I know a lot of guys were asking about more classes and different times, and I would love to do that. But I'm never going to move location. I plan on owning the building when the building's owned by my dad. So I plan on owning the building when my dad is passed on, hopefully no time soon. And then making a complete gym all the way across.
Wow.
But yeah, just more class times. Definitely my kids program back. I had 10 kids at one point, and like that was, the best part of my day is training with the adults. But the other part of the best part of my day that I don't ever tell people about is teaching kids. Because like I love teaching kids. Like, to be honest, watching 5-year-olds choke each other out is amazing. To be honest, like to watch them just, just train, and then, they train, and then they get to do it, and they're so excited that the empowering factor of jiu-jitsu for kids is amazing. Watching, someone come in very timid and quiet, that's a kid who won't even look me in the eyes the first class, but will shake my hand, to 6 months later getting promoted and not beating the snot out of kids, but winning roles and doing better than when they started is amazing, dude. Like that, like creating something in the future is incredible, and dealing with kids is amazing. So more kids, always more kids. I love my adults. I love my adult program, but they come and go, and they got lives. Where the kids, man, like they actually want to be there. So like I want to be there to teach them. So
I think that's great, man.
Bigger kids program, more adults. You know, I'd love to have 20 adults, but get 20 adults in a room, and like, you know, the jiu-jitsu quality is going to drop. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be a little bit more watered down. Like, I can't just run over to every single group at that point. Maybe I have to have another coach, but I don't want to have another coach. Like, I want to teach quality jiu-jitsu to a small group of people that are committed to jiu-jitsu. That's, more
great.
Class times for sure.
Fair. Well, hey, man, I wish you the best luck with that.
Thank you.
So now we're going to hop into our next segment, which is called Quickfire. Basically, I have 10 questions prepared for you. But this segment, you cannot think about the question. You cannot break it down. You just have to answer it.
Okay.
Off the cuff. You have to answer it. Are you ready?
Should I put my sunglasses on? Hold on.
All right, Trickyy, are you ready? You have to answer.
Man. All right, go.
Gi or no gi?
Gi.
No teeth or no hair?
No teeth. I wish I had hair.
Brian or Pedro?
Oh, man. Well, Brian, I've only known you for a little bit. Pedro is one of my boys, so I'm going to go with Pedro, even though he's my Mexican, man. He's my Mexican. I got to go with Pedro.
I'll send that clip in. I think you'll appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or late night owl?
Early bird, dude. I get up between 6:30 and 7 every day.
Oh, damn. Arm bar or rear naked choke?
Oh, arm bar, because I know more of them.
How would you rather spend a weekend? Out camping or getting a nice hotel by Niagara Falls?
Oh, come on, man. You know I go to Niagara Falls all the time. If I'm with a girl, Niagara Falls. By myself, camping. Hey, man, you said no thinking.
Oh, I love that answer.
So
I'm getting action, hotel. Niagara Falls.
No girl camping in the bush. Unless she's into that.
All right. Fruits or vegetables?
Vegetables. Less sugar.
Russia or Bermuda?
Russia. Cooler dudes.
TV shows or movies?
Movies.
And final question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
If you could roll with anyone on the planet, who would it be?
Oh, fuck. Ashton Kutcher, because he's a brown belt, and I want to see if he's a real brown belt.
Oh, shit. All right, man. Those are all the questions I have. Dude, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I honestly thought we had a great conversation. I think we learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was great, man. Yeah, dude, no worries. I thought it was great. So a part of my final segment, I just want to give you the chance to promote whatever you want. So, buddy, the stage is yours.
What do you mean? Like promote? Like,
yeah, anything you want. Promote whatever you want, buddy.
Maybe not jiu-jitsu, maybe just getting out and living life. You know, COVID is keeping everybody inside, so get outside. I bought a trail pass for Gray Sawmill conservation areas. I love them. And that's what I do. When I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, I get outside. I try to live life. I live for today, not tomorrow. I'm not really worried about tomorrow. It's today. Worry about today. If there's something you got to say, something you got to do, you do it, and you worry about the things tomorrow if tomorrow happens. So get out there and explore life and try not to piss people off.
Wow, that was the most wholesome promotion I've heard in my time as a podcaster. People are usually like, follow my Instagram or whatever.
Oh, but I don't care about, dude. I
just like go outside. And I think that's a great way to end.
Go live life, man. Live life.
Go live
life. Like I say,
people.
Jiu-jitsu is important, but real life is more important, dude. I've given up so much shit for jiu-jitsu that I shouldn't have given up on. Go live life. That's basically the 100% that I back all the time, is just get the fuck outside and go live life.
Beautiful.
Do what you got to do for now and not worry about tomorrow.
Beautiful. All right, man. That's been another episode of Beyond the Naked Eye. Thank you once again so much. I thought it was great, man.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for having me, man.
I thought it was great. So everybody, everyone listening right now, I've been Brian Correa. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.